Good afternoon and welcome to Statistics 365. I am Lauren Bamer, and today we will have special guests Alan Fidler and Christina McMahon here to talk about the possibility of a major cyber attack happening before 2020. Wait, was it 2020 or 2025? 2025? Okay, great, thank you. So a major cyber attack happening before 2025. But first, the weather.
No, we need to talk about the cyber attack.
We are going to go to commercial break.
It's important.
We will be right back.
All right. Listen, everyone. Believe it or not, some expert colleagues of mine have said by 2025, yes, that's only a few years away, they say our national security is going to be ravaged by a cyber attack. And when I say ravaged, I mean like pretty bad. Remember Stuxnet, or that cyber attack on the Colombian government, or even before that, the cyber attack on the Estonian government? If you don't, then you haven't been watching enough news. We will picture those attacks, and if you don't know about them, they were really bad. So just picture really bad, and imagine that happening where you live, and 100 times worse than those attacks. The government will be weakened to a state where it literally cannot support the citizens, and the people could die. However, being an expert myself, I have a suggestion to help everyone at home survive this dark day. First, go out and buy some disaster supplies right now. For instance, I already have my trusty flashlight, some canned food, soup, love my soup, and get a tinfoil hat. These are very important. You can check out my YouTube channel, there should be a link to it, and there's a do-it-yourself tutorial to see how to make it. And don't forget to smash that like button.
First off, why are you carrying around cans of soup? And secondly, what's the reason for the tinfoil?
I simply enjoy soup. Especially Campbell's. Campbell's hooked me up with the sponsorship. Anyways, I was going to have this for lunch, and well, with the country being ravaged by a cyber attack, this is the perfect opportunity for aliens to finally invade. Honestly, how would you not know that?
Don't listen to these claims made by Mr. Fidler here. My name is Christine McMahon, and I'm the lead statistician for the College of Information Sciences and Technology. While it is true that we have seen cyber attacks in the past against our nation's infrastructure, it does not mean that we are vulnerable to have a cyber attack before 2025. America, we can sleep soundly. Increased national cybersecurity will protect our country from threats, both foreign and domestic.
This is not a conspiracy theory, people. And these people know their stuff. They've been dealing with everything internet related for more than a decade. Some of them are respected internet analysts, researchers, and from various associations worldwide. My colleagues and I would be the ones to know about new cyber threats and trends. This is a reason the study was only done with experts on the subject. It's because the general public would know nothing about the true nature and possibility of future cyber attacks. Now, about my YouTube channel, I mentioned earlier, but I just added some new merch.
Let's get back on topic here. Actually, Mr. Fidler, the experts that you're referring to know nothing more about cybersecurity than the common bystander. What is not made immediately apparent to viewers in this study is that Pew researchers used a sample of non-random participants to survey a selective group of individuals. This means that Pew researchers used a misleading sample. There were 3 audiences targeted to use as a sample of these so-called experts. The first audience was selected from the mailing list of the Pew Research Center Internet Project. The individuals on this mailing list were said to know, and I'm quoting from this study, have an interest in data trends. So does this mean that any person on the street who has an interest in learning about data trends is an expert in evaluating our country's security? I don't think so. The second audience that Pew Research Center targeted was, and I'm quoting again from the study, a distinguished group of individuals who studied the internet during its formative years. If you have any idea of what that means, let me know, because I'm still scratching my head. And the third and final audience used in the sample was from a prominent listserv of internet analysts. These experts that Pew Research Center surveyed are just people interested in technology. This does not make them experts that can speculate the next decade of our cybersecurity. To wrap up my point, I'll use a common example. Just because Kylie Jenner is on the mailing list for Parenthood magazine doesn't mean that she's pregnant. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, honey, preach. I'll back that up all day. No way Kylie's pregnant. She's the young one, right? Yeah, there's no way. No, she's definitely pregnant. Why would you be subscribed to that magazine if you weren't?
Anyways, back to the matter at hand. Christina, all I'm hearing from you is fake news. If you were a real expert like me, you would understand. Moving on to my next point, I'd like to point out that earlier this year, and even in years past, there's been constant increases in cyber attacks on large-scale companies and governments around the world. As I mentioned earlier, there was a distributed denial of service attack on the Colombian government this past July, which caused more than 30 government websites to be down for the entire day. This is very similar to the distributed denial of service attack on the Estonian government back in 2007, in which government websites and capabilities were disabled for several days. Though they don't happen often, this trend will continue, and in the coming years, they could get much worse. We need to start preparing for the cyber apocalypse. No one is safe.
While I do agree that 2014 brought many new zero-day attacks, your study has taken advantage of a convenient time frame. As you highlighted, 2014 brought many attacks to the United States and other nations. It is true. But as these attacks were happening, the media took advantage of making a headline out of most of them on our nightly news channels. For example, in 2013, the Great Yahoo breach had just occurred, in which over 1 billion, yeah, that's right, billion, user accounts were compromised, and another 500 million accounts were hacked again in 2014. 2013 and 2014 is the same time frame in which Pew Researchers' experts were surveyed. This story, along with many others, were dominating social media and news outlets during these 2 years. This convenient time frame allowed Pew Researchers with the perfect opportunity to survey individuals on the state of our nation's cybersecurity. Of course, respondents would answer yes, that an attack is likely to happen before 2025, when the media was so persistent with cybersecurity threat coverage on the news. But in actuality, professionals in our government and the private sector realized the danger of poor cybersecurity practices and have been reacting accordingly ever since. This has been done by expanding our nation's efforts to prevent such an attack by increasing focus on cybersecurity so that a dangerous attack that may damage a country's defenses has little to no opportunity to.
Thank you, Lauren, for having me on your show. I know cybersecurity experts get a bad rap, but what Alan said is all true. By 2025, there will be a major cyber attack happen. The study is a solid one. The question is whether it was a loaded question. It's easy to answer because it's not. They say that they ask experts whether or not major cybersecurity attack will happen and will cause widespread harm to our nation's security and capability to defend itself and its people by 2025. It's a simple yes or no question. The question is not confusing or biased at all. It is like if someone asked you if you like peanut butter. You either like it or you don't.
I mean, that's a yes for the peanut butter question, but blah, blah, blah. I want to hear what Lauren has to say. Do you agree with this nonsense?
It's Laura. It was definitely not a fair question. The question should not have been a simple yes or no question, as the question is a lot more complicated than that. Your point about peanut butter is untrue. Someone could like regular peanut butter, but not chunky peanut butter. Or someone could like peanut butter on their sandwich, but not alone, or the other way around. This further proves what I'm trying to say about the question. Asking a question like this, by 2025, will a major cyber attack have caused widespread harm to a nation's security and capacity to defend itself and its people? Defining widespread harm as significant loss of life or property losses, damage, theft at the tens of billions of dollars. Who is actually going to say no to that? The situation is complicated and therefore should not have been reduced to a simple yes or no question. By presenting the question as it was, the answer was already predetermined to get the results the surveyor wanted. Also, it did not help the situation that this question was the last of a series of questions, and the other questions only further pushed the respondent to give the desired answer. Therefore, this question was totally a loaded question and did not provide accurate results.
Man, I really want some peanut butter right now. Carl, go get me some peanut butter on whole wheat toast, not on white. Carl, stop.
No. The attack will happen. Thank you for your points, Laura. But however, you're not realizing that this study clearly defines what widespread harm means. It clearly defines all the questions that they're asking. And so they describe the widespread harm as any significant loss of life, property loss, damage, and or theft at all levels at tens of billions of dollars. It narrows down what type of harm that can be done by a cyber attack that they spoke of within the study. They also define what widespread harm means as a listing of a dollar amount to exclude any other monetary damages that may occur. Therefore, it defines everything that they asked.
I am not arguing with you about the question's definition of harm. It may clearly define harm, but other words in the question are not as clearly defined, and therefore are misleading. For example, the words defend and threats are very broadly defined. The reader does not know how they are being defended or what threats they're being defended against. Defending a nation typically applies the military forces that are on the ground. However, this is not applicable in the cyber world. Another question that can be asked in the statistic is how are they defining a threat? Is a threat something that is just spoken, or is it something that's actionable? This then causes the statistic to be applied to different cases that it was not intended for. The broad definition of the study covers a lot of threats that can happen that might not be the major attack they're referring to. Therefore, a major attack is not guaranteed to happen by 2025, according to this study.
Thanks, Carl. You a bagel. Carl, this isn't whole wheat. Well, this newscast didn't go how I expected, so we're gonna cut it off here.
Wait, if you guys want to buy a hat, check out my store, and you guys should put
Carl,
the
can
link
you-
in the
can you help
bottom.
me out here?
Like,
All right, buddy, we gotta go.
Wait, my hat!
Thanks, Carl. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Statistics 365.